like to invite the Chair of the Board of Governors, Nick Koonsberg, to welcome the congregation.
By virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland is this day holding a congregation for the conferment of degrees. And I would like to welcome everyone to the Conservatoire and to this ceremony. This is one of the most important days in the academic calendar. It's a day when staff can gather together with our graduands and their family and friends to celebrate their academic achievements. And we will, on behalf of the Board of Governors, confer a fellowship. Our ceremony, however, begins with the conferment of an honorary degree. The authority of degree awarding powers resides with the academic board of the Conservatoire, which may confirm an honorary degree of doctor upon any person it considers has made a truly outstanding contribution to their profession and whose achievements richly deserve high distinction and recognition. Therefore, Principal Sharkey, I will now sponsor Dr. Norman Sharp for the degree of Doctor of the Conservatoire Honoris Causa. Governors of the Conservatoire, members of the Academic Board, graduands, lords, ladies and gentlemen. I have been fortunate enough to know Dr. Norman Sharp for some 15 years, and it was an odd quirk of fate that found us sitting at the same board table here at the Conservatoire some 3 years ago. And I have to say that it gives me enormous pleasure that you, Norman, are being celebrated in today's ceremony. Originally an academic economist at Glasgow Caledonian University, Norman's interest in and commitment to different patterns of degree provision, including part-time and off-campus structures, led to an abiding engagement with and commitment to quality. Norman was a pilot of Scotland's National Credit and Qualifications Framework, the SCQF, the first to be recognised within the European Bologna process, and he became a founding director of the SCQF partnership. His day job at the time was an assistant director at the UK Higher Education Quality Council. Norman's first formal engagement with the Conservatoire was in 1997, some 22 years ago, when he coordinated a Higher Education Quality Council audit. The audit process was one size fits all, in that it was designed to accommodate all higher education institutions. So naturally, Conservative colleagues were concerned that it would not be sufficiently nuanced to capture the distinctive qualities and character of this establishment. We were then, as we continue now, to be unique. However, colleagues did not need to be concerned. Thanks in large part to Norman's insightful and subtle leadership, the process was applied in an appropriate way that both respected and understood our unique ethos and way of working. This foreshadowed his appointment as the director of QAA Scotland and a board member of the Quality Assurance Agency for UK Higher Education. He was not only a very effective head of QAA Scotland and, as I can testify, a much loved and respected leader, but he was also the architect of the new enhancement-led approach to managing quality and standards in the higher education sector in Scotland. ALIA, this enhancement-led institutional review, continues to attract considerable national and international interest. When chair of QAA Scotland, I went to the annual quality conference for all UK HE, and at 2 such events in succession, Norman hosted workshops focused on ALIA. These attracted a high degree of interest, and on each occasion in the plenary session, there were heated questions to the board as to why QAA UK did not move from institutional audit to ALIA. On the appointment of both a new QAA chairman and a new chief executive in successive years, you and I, Norman, held a dinner for new appointees to introduce them to Scottish higher education and its benefits. These dinners were attended by several ALIA supporting high-hitting principals and vice principals, frankly, in order to brainwash the incoming chair and chief executives. While they personally understood and got it, unfortunately, the Conservative Party in QAA headquarters refused to budge. An important innovation of yours, Norman, was the then groundbreaking invitation to student representatives to participate in quality assessment. You have always been a champion of student-centred approaches and were instrumental in the establishment of Sparks, the Scottish organisation that supports effective student engagement in managing quality in post-compulsory education. You chaired the Sparks board and, unsurprisingly, were given a Lifetime Achievement Award for this contribution. 10 years ago, I was asked by my predecessor here, Lord Valence, whether you would be an appropriate addition to the board. As a result, you asked me then, as your chairman at QAA Scotland, for permission to join the RCS board. And since 2009, you've been an outstanding governor. The bulk of your tenure predated mine, so in preparing this tribute, I naturally turned to Ian Valence and to Jeff Sharkey's predecessor, John Wallace, as well as Jeff himself. Ian Valence said he was clearly a first-rate and supportive governor with a love of the performing arts. Exceptionally, I don't know what this says about the academic board, exceptionally, he was welcomed by the academic board to join their proceedings, and he provided an excellent bridge between that board and the governing body in the run-up to and during the radical move to the new curriculum. John Wallace remembers you as a rock throughout the curriculum reform. He recognised your ongoing backing during radical changes, taking on dance, creating new estate, helping negotiate the BMAS and the PhD degrees, and of course changing the name from RSAMD. He recalls you on the board, smiling away benignly, sitting in the crow's nest, keeping a weather eye on the storms ahead, and giving distilled, pure gold dust advice on the best way to avoid those storms. What a wonderful lodestar for any non-executive board member. Our current principal said pithily, Norman's silences were as eloquent as his perfect questions and as valuable as the words of others. During my own term of office, you've been a pillar of strength. Indeed, Ian Valence also said to me, quote, this appointment was a stunning example of your long-term planning abilities. Seemingly, Norman, every time I appeared in the conservatoire, outside board or committee business, I would find you going into or emerging from yet another meeting, either formal or informal. All part of the, when there's an intractable issue, the answer was to get Norman. You agreed to stay on for an extra year to help with Earlier, where your experience was unique and contributed to this key process, intelligently, collaboratively, insightfully, sensitively, and without fear or favour. And you've also continued as an understanding observer on the academic board, a stalwart member of the audit committee, and played a major part in promoting collaboration with the student union. Possibly most importantly, you've been the first convener of our Fair Access Committee that began its invaluable work 2 years ago. And on the board itself, you've provided the constant and consistent service so praised and valued by Ian, John, Jeff, and myself. We shall miss you as a governor, Norman. But this isn't the end. You have also had extensive international involvement in quality matters, working in South Africa, Ireland, Namibia, Luxembourg, Serbia, Romania, Albania, and Iceland, undertaking assignments on behalf of the Council of Europe to support countries involved in the Bologna process. You were elected to the board of the International Network of Quality Assurance Agencies and appointed a member of the international panel advising the Ministry of Education and Culture in Luxembourg, as well as an advisor to the Ministry of Education. And even now, in so-called retirement, you're a chair of the Icelandic Quality Board for Higher Education, for which you are about to receive the Order of the Falcon. And you're also a member of the International Advisory Board and the editorial board of the journal Quality in Higher Education. In addition to all of this, you added your voice to quality and standards in healthcare, serving on the Clinical Standards Board for Scotland and as chair of the NHS Quality Improvement Scotland. Is it any wonder that your wife Margaret, also a graduate of ours, wondered when that world trip was ever going to happen? Since joining the Conservatoire, your expertise and wisdom has also been valued by the board of the University of Highlands and Islands, Wrexham Glendower University, and the Scottish Advisory Board of the Open University. And your work has been acknowledged with an honorary fellowship from Glendower and honorary doctorates from the University of the West of Scotland and the Open University, in addition to the OBE for services to higher education. So we are far from the first to appreciate and decorate you, but we are nonetheless honoured to do so for all that you have contributed to the RCS over a 10-year period. Thank you very much indeed, Norman, for all that you've done, and do not be a stranger to Scotland's National Conservatoire in the future. I therefore ask the Principal to confirm the degree of Doctor of the Conservatoire honoris causa upon Norman Sharp.
Norman, by virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland to confer an honorary degree of the Conservatoire upon any person it may deem worthy of such distinction, and in the name of the Academic Board, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of the Conservatoire honoris causa. Many congratulations. Dr. Norman Sharp to address our graduates.
Chairman, Principal, graduates, staff, and guests. I'm silenced. For these kind words, Jeff, Chairman, thank you very much. I've heard said before on a platform, and I think it would equally apply tonight, if my parents were still alive, my father would have enjoyed it, and my mother might have believed it. This is such a special institution to me, such a special institution to Glasgow, to Scotland, and internationally. Personally, as you said, Chairman, my wife's a graduate of the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, and my son studied in the Junior Academy at the beginning of a professional career in performance and music. So this is such a special award. I used to sit at board meetings in Dublin right in front of a huge poster quoting William Butler Yeats, the Irish poet and writer, saying, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire." And this speech, this quote, has been used to start many a graduation speech, the length and breadth of these lands. The fact that it's almost certainly not by Yeats at all doesn't diminish its fundamental truth in any way. Education, as Socrates almost certainly did actually say, is indeed the kindling of a flame. And looking around the wonderful, happy faces of the graduands, I can see that this flame has indeed been lit. And we all have much to be thankful for in this fine institution for the lighting of our fires. Thanks not least to the staff attending the ceremony this evening. We're all very familiar with the glittering careers of the many nationally and internationally famous actors, musicians, and directors who have graduated from this conservatoire. A company of alumni that our graduates will be joining this evening. And we all celebrate your outstanding achievements at having achieved what you have. However, I would like briefly to celebrate the vital role of our National Conservatoire in widening its doors to provide fair access to as broad a spectrum of the Scottish population who have talent to succeed but lack the early support to nurture that talent. One of my great joys is to attend the graduation ceremonies down the road at the Royal Concert Hall of the Open University in Scotland. These are great family occasions, and joy, as it will be tonight, is very openly expressed. And you hear all the time shouts from the auditorium of, "Well done, Mum," and even "Well done, Grandpa." But I particularly enjoyed last month's ceremony when the shout of "Well done, Carlton" was heard, loudly above the crowd. Carlton, if you don't know, is one of the areas of Scotland with the highest concentration of social deprivation. Like the Open University, and indeed like all of Scotland's universities, the Conservatoire has a responsibility passed to it from the government to find ways of being open to all of Scotland's population who possess the necessary intrinsic talent, irrespective of their background. This poses particular challenges, of course, for the Conservatoire, where the early nurturing of talent is just so crucial, so important. The Conservatoire imaginatively addresses its challenges in a variety of ways. For example, it runs outreach centres in 4 local authority areas, providing lessons for over 500 children and young people between the ages of 5 and 18 every single week. Its transitions programme last year had some 150 students on it from a wide variety of social and ethnic backgrounds. This is Scotland's Conservatoire, so of course some of our students that we are trying to serve live at some distance from Glasgow, and we are trying to increasingly harness new technology, providing, for example, instrumental lessons to youngsters in the Hebrides every week, and then periodically, as close as can be managed to once a month, they travel down to Glasgow and will get face-to-face lessons and group lessons. We run a widening access to the Creative Industries initiative with a range of schools in the west of Scotland that do not traditionally send many youngsters at all into any form of higher education. And of course, our splendid junior conservatoire increasingly has such an important role. Now, why is this all so important tonight? Precisely because some of our graduates this evening and at other ceremonies this year and next year and the year after that will have reached this wonderful stage by travelling down these routes of fair access. Nurturing these roots, nurturing these talents, kindling these flames takes great skill, and it's a great privilege for me to be receiving my award in the company of the staff responsible for all of this. And in particular, I would have to say, at the same ceremony, as those who have honed these skills even further in the master's degree in learning and teaching in the performing arts. So we therefore do have much to celebrate tonight. All of our graduands are graduating with wonderful skills and ability. If I'm allowed to offer any advice tonight to tonight's graduates, it would be, I hope you always remember, whatever form your professional practice takes, do remember the power of the arts, of your art, to change both people and societies. It's the arts that can light the fire of individuals and their communities, the power to change lives. So please, please do go on lighting fires. As the Greek philosopher Plutarch almost said, what you have achieved inwardly will change outward reality for individuals and their communities. Good luck and well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, a performance by Mary McGilvery and Anna Garvin in celebration of the work of Dr. Norman Sharp and Professor Norman Gillis.
We will now confer the Fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire, and I have pleasure in inviting the Principal to introduce the sponsor.
Chair, I now invite Jamie Mackay to sponsor Norman Gillies.
Chair, Principal, Fellows and Governors of the Conservatoire, graduands, Lords, ladies and gentlemen. I have the great honour of saying a few words about Professor Norman N. Gillies. Norman is from Floddigray in the north of Skye and was born into a Gaelic-speaking crofting family. He had several siblings, and like all school children in the area, he did his homework by the light of a tilly or paraffin lamp. There would be no electricity until 1952. After school, he left to study the new field of hotel management in Glasgow and developed a very successful career in the hotel and business building industries. In 1983, Somor Ostig launched their first formal course, Business Studies in Gaelic, and it was this and the chance to return to Skye that prompted Norman to take a leap of faith. When he arrived at Somor as a college secretary, the big barn of Ostig had just recruited its first 8 full-time students. 3 years later, Norman had taken on the role of director, a position he would hold for a further 22 years. Donny Munro celebrated Norman's phenomenal contribution in taking Somor from its modest beginnings as a small, peripheral, specialist FE college to being a highly acclaimed educational, linguistic and cultural institution of national and international status. In 2002, the college was awarded the Queen's Anniversary Prize, the most prestigious national honour of its type in the field of higher and further education. After leaving Somor, Norman became Director of Development with the Clan Donald Lands Trust, producing a 20-year master plan for the 20,000-acre estate, central to which was the creation of the first new village in Skye in almost 100 years. Norman was instrumental in gaining planning permission for the 93 houses, 7 academic buildings, 4 enterprise units, conference centre, hotel, shop and sports facility that would become Kilbeg. Lisa MacDonald, a graduate of Somor and RCS and now member of staff at Somor, said of Kilbeg, "It's a very special thing to be able to stand amongst fields and trees and to imagine not just a building but a new community with homes and people connected to a centre of learning, close to jobs, a school, events. It lifts what was once a fairly standalone tower, a solitary landmark, a lonely beacon of hope, and takes it up a whole level to being a thriving, bustling, and crucially self-sustaining and connected hub." Norman was appointed Chief of the Gaelic Society of Inverness in 2000. In the same year, he received an Honorary Doctor of Laws and 2 years later an Honorary Professorship in Contemporary Highland Studies from the University of Aberdeen. In 2003, he was awarded an OBE for his services to education and Gaelic. In 2008, he was the recipient of the Saltire Award and was made an honorary member in 2009 for his services to Gaelic. In 2009, he was also awarded an emeritus professorship at the University of the Highlands and Islands. He was the chair of the board for West Highland College from its inception until 2011, and in 2011 was awarded an honorary degree by the Open University for exceptional contribution to education and culture. When I asked Norman which of the accolades he was most proud of, he told me the most important thing is seeing students graduate, adding that it is through the formal experiences of graduations that we can really see the worth of a place and what it can mean for the future. Margaret Bennett describes Norman as someone who understands the value of culture, of education, of language, and has the skills to apply them. This combination of vision and skill is evident in his legacy at Somor Ostig and Kilbeg, through his work as chair of Atlas Arts, through his charity work for schools in Zambia, and in many other important causes. When I called to speak with him last week, he was in the middle of hosting a family of Syrian refugees. Norman emphasises the importance of institutions, economy and infrastructure in building communities. But more than that, we need outstanding individuals to develop the vision and embody the ethos that will allow a community to flourish. Historian and writer Professor James Hunter stated that Norman is that rarest of people, a visionary who also gets things done. From all accounts, Norman remains a modest, humble and helpful man without any notions of himself, but he does indeed get things done. And he has helped us to get things done. Norman has served on the Board of Governors of the RCS since 2009, and this ceremony marks the end of his 10-year term in this role. Over that time, he has been a generous contributor, valuable guide, and passionate advocate. And this award is in recognition of his outstanding service to the Conservatoire. This is our way of saying, more in time. Thank you. I therefore have very great pleasure in asking the Chair to confer Fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland upon Norman N. Gillis.
In the name of the Board of Governors, I confer upon you Fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire.
I now invite the directors to present their graduands for their degrees.
In the name of the School of Drama, Dance, Production and Film, and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Classical and Contemporary Text, Acting. Shelby Lynn Bias. Luke James Brady. Tara Bruno. Mary Gould. Celia Kleeman. Anne Klein. Sophie Larson. Shelton Macora. Selena Malay. Ryan Napier. David Persiva. Victoria Rodriguez. Camilla Skalski. Emma Smith. Natalie Woodward. Julia Schwiereb. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Classical and Contemporary Text, Directing. Rebecca Clark. Katie Smith. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Musical Theatre, Musical Directing. Joseph Clayton. Andy Manning. Kale Rusacalio. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Musical Theatre Performance. Nea Maria Alanco. Rebecca Brincott. Heather Conda. James Dawood. Mikey Hillen. Rachel Hunt. Jocelyn Losole Stringer. Katie Lynch. Rebecca Martin. Joey Mulligan. Eloise Ronette. Ina Takinen. Karen Young. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Acting, Solveig Amalia Krogh Sunbo.
Principal, in the name of the School of Music and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Music. In performance, Yun Ying He. Constantina Maimari. Richard Schofield. Miao Zhang. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Music. In opera, Stephanie Stanway. In performance, Leah Shaw. In Scottish music, Ellen Gira. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Musical Studies, with honours of the second class, Eleanor Hamilton Reid. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Education in Music, with honours of the second class, Sarah Haney. Liam Mannion. Isla McLennan. Aaron Nakere. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Music. In performance, with honours of the second class, Conor Burgess. And Michael Ferguson.
Principal, in the name of the Learning and Teaching Programmes and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Education in Learning and Teaching in the Performing Arts. Stephanie Arsoska. Simone Callahan. Thomas Cooper. Amy Ferguson. Vivian Gibson. Laura Johnson Scott. Kirsty Kelly. Sheena McDougall. Ian Massey. Nikki McEwen. Ruth Ann Mills. Mira O'Donnell Webb. Aileen Palombo. Ailey Slattery. Amy Stevenson. Joanna Turbett. Chantel Wood. Yvonne Virosławska. With the authority of the Academic Board and the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the Postgraduate Certificate in Learning and Teaching in Arts Education. Gent Cottrell. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I request that you confer the appropriate degree upon those graduates listed as in absentia in the programme.
I confer those degrees in absentia. Honored guests, graduates, A very warm welcome to all of you. Today is a special day for everyone in this room and for us at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. We're here to celebrate, reflect, and most important of all, to look forward and outwards to life beyond these walls. May I start by offering my warmest congratulations to you, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland's class of 2019. We're immensely proud of each and every one of you. Congratulations. Over the time of your studies, you've each been part of the fabric of life here, as we have been a big part of yours. And when you depart today, you leave behind your artistic imprint, just as I hope we leave a lasting imprint on you. This is also the Day of the Normans, although without William the Conqueror in sight. But two individuals who've given wonderful and valuable time, insights, and wisdom to our institution. We are so pleased to have a new fellow and a new honorary doctorate, respectively, for each of you. When all of you leave us as graduates, whether or not you remain in Glasgow, you will take a part of this city with you. Its humor, its genuine warmth, in human terms, if not Celsius. And I'm certain that the time that you've spent here will form an important part of the next chapter and stage in your life. In thanking you and celebrating your achievements, there's a group of special people that you and I also need to thank for the part that they've played in supporting you. And that's your family and friends who are here and those who are not able to be here with us today. So graduates, just as they're celebrating your achievements, can I ask you to be upstanding and to applaud your audience as a way of saying thank you for being here and for everything they've done for all of you. Thank you. And now back to all of you, the class of 2019, October 2019. There's something special in being different. Graduating in October is different. It's not the norm. America has graduated back in May. Some countries have it in December, but you pick as close to Halloween and Mischief Night as you can possibly get. There's something really different about all of you. Creating your work on the Verge or in Edinburgh and recreating someone else's work on the same day. Performing 3 times a day with full commitment and energy like it's your job. Traveling on a 757, 3,000 miles to get here and working with someone else who took the 77 bus and understanding one another's accent and making art together is a really special thing. You are all wonderfully and sometimes brazenly committed to your art. You are not wanting to be confined to a narrow set of parameters. You will do Shakespeare in January, outside. You will compose your own cadenza. You'll collaborate on a new piece of theater or musical theater. You will make art that cuts through the noise and makes us stop and notice and hear. We need better listeners and better communicators to help us solve our issues, to help us realize our differences are less important than what binds us together as a species and what binds us as a creative and breathing being. Our art helps make, shape, and reflect society. I say you're different, but actually that never was the case. You were remaining in touch with something that all humans are born with, a desire to create, to perform, and share. It's just sadly that most have an education to take that away from them. And you didn't let that happen. So keep being committed, creative, and communicative. Listen as much as you speak, so that your art reflects your communities. As our graduates, you are empowered to take everything that is essential and important about your time here and apply it with a passion and confidence in whatever you choose to do next. So go then and be active, creative citizens of the world, and do so with our love and encouragement to be the best that you can be in a world that needs you more than ever. Thank you. This congregation is now ended. Please be upstanding for our graduates.